All right, Shalom, Israel. All right. All praise to the Most High. Good to see everybody in the house, man. Everybody had a blessed tabernacles, I take it.
Shalom.
Indeed. Shalom to the families online as well. Everybody that's tuning in and will be tuning in. Shalom to y'all. We're going to get into, it's ironic now that we're seeing the happenings in the earth right now. I know by now everybody knows what's been happening over there in our land, where the heathen over there occupying it, causing quite a stir, leading up to the events known as World War III. As bombs are dropping over there, man. They're scraping up bodies up off the ground. Slow Biden came out and pledged his loyalties and allegiances with Israel. That anything else goes down, America's going to be involved. And one thing he said was the world is watching. So when you say that, who's he speaking for? When you say the world is watching, talking to Ishmael, saying we're watching you, and you say he represents the world, in other words. Now that is par for the. Let me see if I can find that video, man. Brother sent it to me earlier. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I might have to send it to myself to share. Brother sent it to me on YouTube. Give me 1 second. It just popped in my head because it goes into the lesson that we're going to talk about today, which is Esau and the kingdom or the empire of America and the fulfillment of the prophecy of Genesis 27, 38 through 40, right? And if he's speaking on behalf of the world, well, we know if the scriptures say what? The earth has been given into who? The hands of the wicked. So if Slow Biden is coming up and he's speaking on behalf of the world, he's letting you know who's the wicked, that he's the voice of the world, that America is a central hub that can speak for all nations. The buck stops with him. And anytime the international affair goes on, America has to get involved. It's on them to make sure that order is restored, or it's up to them to establish their allegiances and let it be known, well, who are they dealing with and who's not dealing with them. Hold on, let me get this one up because it's very interesting. Before we get started, I want to show this to you if you haven't seen his response, because of course they're going to walk him out there and let him give his 2 cents in regards to what happened. I want to get him up here. Me and Slow Biden got a wild relationship. I do, man. We talk about the devil. Hold on. Does that? Like we might be able to get it on. Yeah, okay. Now, turn it on. The remote is on the front. Never mind. I'm trying to get this AC not working. Shalom to the families online, man. Ashar, shalom to you. Curious Christian, shalom to you, right? And the family over there, Bow. Mama Ka, shalom to you. Kohab, shalom. Bayan, shalom. House of Elkanah, shalom to y'all, family. Turn that down, right?
You got to turn it down.
Yeah. The echo is picking it back. Don't worry about it. It's going to be on the screen now.
Oh, okay.
We're hooking it up.
All
right. I didn't think the cord would reach, but it works.
Oh, okay.
Forgive me, family. We're going to get it right. And I need to share this with y'all. So let me go ahead and share the screen. And let's see your boy addressing bombing that happened earlier. HDMI 1. Yeah. Is it?
They're sitting on the TV.
Yeah. Go to home and then scroll up and you see the HDMI outlets. Hey, Shalom, brother Ron. Shows up. Sure, everybody see? Okay. All right. So, in regards to the bombing earlier today, Slow Biden is popping up here and wants to speak on behalf of America. And let's just listen to him and see what he says regarding it. He's so, man, they got damn to have somebody walk him and guide him. The other guy, he's trying to make sure he keep pace just in case he fall down. Okay, so here you go.
Good afternoon. Today, the people of Israel are under attack, orchestrated by a terrorist organization, Hamas. In this moment of tragedy, I want to say to them and to the world and to terrorists everywhere, the United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back. We'll make sure that they have the help their citizens need and they can continue to defend themselves. The world's seen appalling images. Thousands of rockets in the space of hours raining down on Israeli cities. I got up this morning, started this at 7:30, 8 o'clock, my calls. Hamas terrorists crossing into Israel, killing not only Israeli soldiers, but Israeli civilians. In the street, in their homes, innocent people murdered, wounded, entire families taken hostage by Hamas.
The funny thing is, like we mentioned earlier, is not a problem when the GMO Jews over there are bombing the mosques. They're the ones killing, dropping bombs. America's dropping bombs on weddings, killing all kind of innocent people over there, right? And then it's not terrorism when Esau does it. But as soon as another nation does it, it's terrorism. We want the world to know we've got Israel's back, so forth and so on, right? Placating on everybody's emotions. Oh, little kids and grandmothers being killed hostage and taken out. Well, what did they do to us? Every time we bring up alligator bait and all that, that's in the past. Let that alone. What about Mammy that you got, raising your kids and whipping and beating and taking? If they don't knock it off with this foolishness, man.
Days after Israel marked the holiest of days in the Jewish calendar. It's unconscionable.
Unconscionable.
When I spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning, I told him the United States stands with the people of Israel in the face of these terrorist assaults. Israel has the right to defend itself and its people. Full stop. There's never a justification for terrorist attacks. And my administration's support for Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering. Let me say this as clearly as I can. This is not a moment for any party hostile to Israel to exploit these attacks to seek advantage. The world is watching. I've also been in contact with the King of Jordan. Spoke with.
Now he says the world is watching. That lets you know America and this snake right here speaks for the world, right? So this is why we're going to get into America being the empire of Esau, the central point of where all power flows. This is the great harlot. This is Babylon. This is and more of an understanding on the landmass America. Why this is considered the fatness of the earth. We know that the whole entire earth Esau has been given into him. But what's the fatness of that earth? What's the greatest part of the earth to be in? That's what we're going to talk about.
Members of Congress directed my national security team to engage with their Israeli counterparts, military to military, intelligence to intelligence, diplomat to diplomat, to make sure Israel has what it needs. I've also directed my team to remain in constant contact with leaders throughout the region, including Egypt, Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Oman, the UAE, as well as our European partners and the Palestinian Authority. It's also a terrible tragedy on a human level. Contact with Prime Minister Netanyahu as this situation continues to develop. And let there be no mistake, The United States stands with the state of Israel. Just as we have from the moment the United States became the first nation to recognize Israel 11 minutes after its founding 75 years ago. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, was there an intelligence failure in the lead up to
He
this
ignored the
time?
question. He getting the hell out of there.
Did he ask you specifically for support?
I thought this was a big humanitarian law. I thought this was something that everybody should be caring for. He can't even sit there and speak in regards to the bombing. He didn't want to answer no questions because you know if he do, he's gonna fumble the ball, and it's all over with. So he just read from the teleprompter, ran and got up out of there, and let it be known that America is going to get Israel's back to the end. Last night I covered the story where they just said they were scraping the bottom of the barrel for ammunition for Ukraine. So what can they give Israel to help them besides more bombs, more money? They don't even have the budget secure right now for any more money talk right now. So what he's talking about is when World War III goes off, we've got all the weapons we need. We got the bombs, we got the missiles, we got everything prepared to ship to Israel. Israel's got them. We looked at it last night. I think it said Israel has maybe like 60 nukes compared to America got 5-some thousand. Russia got 66, damn near 7,000 nukes. So this is what he's talking about. Right? So let's get to the meat of the matter. Let's open up in the scriptures. Let's go to Genesis. Genesis 25. And let's start Genesis 25 and read 27. So we understand and know, and we see America flexing his power. So if he says the world is watching and he's the mouthpiece, well, now we see who is in control of the earth. Who speaks for the world? If the Most High said that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and he's saying, hey, I speak for the earth, well, then 2 + 2 = 4, man. He's the wicked. America's the wicked, right? 25, everybody should know this breakdown as far as Esau is concerned, right? But I just want to get to the main points. Let's read verse 26 and 27.
Book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
So Isaac was 60 years old. This is a prophecy that also developed in 2 Ezra 6, 7 through 10 in regards to Jacob grabbing on Esau's heel and fighting in the womb. I mean, we haven't gotten along since we were sperm in the womb. We can be fraternal twins, but always have been at odds with these people. And here we see that Jacob is trying to get that first blessing. He wants to be the firstborn. In the spirit, he knew. He's trying to pull him down and get back up, the classic crabs in the barrel, right? So he took hold on Esau's heel, but read verse 27.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
Salaki, a man of the field. So Esau's a man of the field. What's the field? Mark 13. There we go. Mark 13:38. So Esau is a worldly man. Let's get that. Mark 13:38. So it sets the precedence in regards to the spirit that the children would have. Esau carries this on to this day. Mark 13:38.
The book of Mark.
I was slacking. Matthew. I said Mark. Matthew 13:38.
Book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 38. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one.
Right. So there we see how Yahweh was breaking down the parable of the mustard seed or whatnot, and gave us the similitude of the world being looked at as the field. So when the scriptures are saying that Esau is a man of the field, meaning he's a worldly man, he's a carnal man. That's why when it came down to the blessing, he had no desire for anything spiritual. Back in Job, what is the 21st chapter, he says, who's the Most High that I should serve him? Like, what can he benefit me? I'm spending my days in wealth. Let's get that in Job. Job 20, 21. Is it 20? Might be 20. So he's a man of the world, right? And this is why we're going to see why he coveted this land over here, because he knew and understood the value from worldly perspectives that this land had, that the children of Israel was resting in. 21. Let's read 13 down to 15.
The book of Job, chapter 21, verse 13. They spent their days in woe, and in a moment go down to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore they say unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways.
Right, that's the so-called white man and the wicked man. They have no desire to fear the Most High, to keep the commandments. He had no desire to see the value of the covenant. You know, when he was willing to sell his birthright out for a bowl of lentils and raw meat, he knew that there was he didn't care about things of the spirit. The inheritances that were passed down from father to firstborn, so forth and so on, keeping of the law, he didn't want any of that. He wants to spend his days and his wealth. He wants to be out on the yachts. He wants to be out on the private jets. He wants to be in the high rises. He wants to have the power and the influence of controlling economies and controlling people and social experimentation and dealing with medical experimentation. He wants that type of power. I mean, we've seen how much money, if you look up how much money Pfizer and Moderna made over the last 3 years because of the pandemic. You're talking billions of dollars they cashed in on. With all, what do they call it? With damn near medical amnesty, man, where you can't even sue them. Any problems that go down, they're clean, got a clean slate, man. You can't even come at them if there's any problems with this experimental fast track medicine that they got poked up in everybody's arms. But they make billions out the deal. You know, even when you deal with guys like Warren Buffett and who else said it? Warren Buffett. I think one of the dudes from
Elon Musk.
No, not Elon. Maybe Elon, but I know one of the dudes from, I think, like the Rolling Stones or something like that. He just recently came out and was like, I think the dude's worth damn near 500 million. He was like, I'm not leaving to my kids, but they can't do nothing with that. So even when it comes down to them spending their days and wealth and immediately go down to the grave, they take the money and further it back into the program of oppression instead of getting it to their kids, because they know the kids gonna be done with it. They're gonna lose it all, spend it all, you know, spoil it, and they want to make sure that they don't get white guilt on them and start giving it back to us. So they say, I can't even trust you with our money. I'm going down to the grave. I'm putting it back right back into the system. So they spend their days in wealth. They go down to the grave. Therefore, they say unto the Most High, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. Read on.
What is the Almighty that we should serve him?
See, because he believes in manifest destiny. He believes in, in his oppressive nature, feeling as though he was born to conquer. He said, what I need the Most High for? I did it all myself. And if I'm going to serve anything or any type of spiritual entity, I'll serve Satan before I serve him. Because isn't this everything that Satan offered to Christ on the mount? He said, man, all the kingdoms of the earth, past and present, it's in the power of my hands. I give it to you right now. All you got to do is bow down. He was like, man, if you don't get up out of here, man, how you going to offer me something that's already mine? Basically. And you know who slid it up on his belly and said, all the kingdoms of the earth, I can have that? I'll serve you. So that's where you get the red dragon in Revelation 13, where it said the beast gave power. The power, and Satan gave power unto the beast. They get Esau's beast, the last beast gets his power from Satan. You know, he had no problem bowing down, receiving power from Satan, because he ain't gonna serve the Most High. So what's the Almighty that we should serve him? Go ahead.
And what profit should we have if we pray unto him?
Mm-hmm.
Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me.
I mean, and that's why you see Slow By, man. He's sitting up here talking about this is a humanitarian effort and this is a tragedy and how many people. As soon as I get to try and ask him questions, let's get up out of here. I don't even want to try to expound on it. I don't want to be exposed as a fraud. That I really don't care. But I'm here for the warfare. Let's go back to Genesis. And let's pick it up one more time at 27 one more time. So we're seeing the nature of Esau, right? And his knowledge of the world, being a worldly carnal man, this is where he comes into play.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
A cunning hunter. I mean, we see how cunning Esau is, man. He can find you based upon a fingerprint, a follicle of hair, a mud trail from the design of your shoe. He's got a DNA database that he's got everybody that submitted their DNA to lock in on. Even if you haven't, he's doing, secretly taking blood tests and secretly taking your DNA when you didn't give him authority to do so. Cunning hunter, man. I mean, look, they just supposedly found a dude that killed Tupac 25 plus years later. I mean, you would think, oh, that's over with now. But no. I mean, but the guy's been admitting to it for like the last 10 years or so. Esau finally just said, well, here's a good distraction that we can go ahead on and throw out there, man. Hey, we finally found your beloved Tupac's killer. Want to pat me on the back now? Now all of a sudden, the Edomite detective, Ray Kading, they parade him around like he's a damn hero. But this is the type of things that Esau does, man, from his forensic sciences and all of that, constantly hunting us down. When you're looking at colonization of lands and whatnot, what was that land? What was that movie? 1492. When you had Columbus, he was talking about, where Magellan went off, and he had to read on 2nd Ezra 13 to find his way over here to the Americas, and they knew that the people of the Lord was over here. So he's a hunter, man. He knows what he's pursuing. He knows what he wants to try to attract and get. And these are all the things that he's made manifest. Now jump over to chapter 27 and let's read 38 and 39.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
So now Esau wants to cry and whine after he missed out on his blessing. You see that Jacob was to receive the blessing of the firstborn, the covenant, so forth and so on. Now after he lied and said, man, oh, Jacob tricked me, blah, 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 father, and she got something left over for me. What did Isaac tell him? Read on.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above.
So his dwelling is going to be the fatness of the earth and the dew from heaven above. Read on.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
And he's going to defend this fatness of the earth, this inheritance, everything he's got with the sword. So he's been blessed with knowledge of weaponry, technology, destruction, so forth and so on, to maintain this blessing. Read on.
And shalt serve thy brother.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
So this is a future prophecy. He served under David at one point, and then once he broke free from that, he's had dominion ever since 333 BC. Let's go to 1 Maccabees, chapter 1. So when you read the history in the scriptures, man, Esau was never a world power until the Greeks came into play. Esau would rule Mount Seir, establish rule in his little area and whatnot. But when it came down to it, he was nothing. Teaming up with Ammon, teaming up with Moab, subservient to the other nations from Assyria to Egypt, Babylon. I mean, he was always subservient. So when we're seeing this particular prophecy coming to pass, it says, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break the yoke from off thy neck. So when he's given power is when he's going to break the yoke. Before we go to read 1 Maccabees, then we'll precept Job.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, and verse 1. Mm-hmm. And it happened.
What happened? What ended up happening? Go ahead.
After that, Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead. the first over Greece.
The first over Greece. So go back to Job 9:24. Well, hold that, and we're going to go to Job 9:24, I should say.
The book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
So this is what happened, that the earth has been transferred into the hand of the wicked. Now remember, the field is the world. Esau is a man of the world, a man of the field, a carnal man that received this particular blessing. The Bible classifies him as being the wicked of the earth. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. So he did it through iconoclasm with the artwork. He did it by destroying archaeology. He did it by imposing religions upon the earth, all these denominational religions from Christianity, Catholicism, Seventh-day Adventists, what else we got? Jehovah's Wickedness, all of them. Now he's changing the faces of the judges. He's changed the face of the judge of Christ, saying that no longer did Christ say that he came and died for the children of Israel and their sins. You know, when you got Matthew 1:21 says, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall die for his people for their sins. Paraphrasing that. They took that judgment, Act 5:29, that he came to die and give repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sin. Took that judgment and changed that and said, no, it's for all of us. It's for the world. Now that's how he changes the faces of the judges, where he completely changes the dynamics that the Most High laid down. But the Most High said he's wicked for doing that. Finish that up. So it says he covered the faces of the judges. We're the ultimate judges. We've been given the law. If we're dealing in the course of law, right? If you're going to be a judge or a lawyer, what do you have to know? You got to know the law. So if we were given the laws, we were given the laws in order to judge. He took that and said, no. Those dark, skin, brown skin, blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, they're no longer the judges. We are. An ultimate judge, I'm changing the face. It looks like me now. So now psychologically, that gets stuck in the people's heads. Anytime they do something against us, we got to have mercy. Anytime they do something against us, we got to feel bad for them. Why? Because we fear the judgment is going to come from a white man that looks just like our oppressors. Man.
Can't tell a lie that you know the truth.
Hello? There we go. So he's going to cover the faces of the judges. So he did that. We know that. Go ahead.
If not, where and who is he?
So the question becomes, if that's not the truth, well, where in the heck is this wicked that's controlling the earth, that covered the faces of the judges? He's gone through all these particular essences of iniquity, right? Hold on, give me Psalm 49 and 11. Psalm 49 and 11. So when he gets control of the earth, something else he's going to do.
The book of Psalm, chapter 49, verse 11. Yeah. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever.
So once he gets control, he's going to say there's going to be no end to his rule. Well, we see if y'all seen DSTM last night, 71% of Americans say the apocalypse is coming and the government ain't going to save us. It's over with. They're all starting to believe now America's got a soon doom coming and there's nothing they can do about it. 7 out of 10 people agree on that now. Would they have been saying that to us 15 years ago, Rasha? I would have died 20 years ago when we was out there, pounding the pavement, signs in the air, America's going to be destroyed, America's got to be judged, America's got to reap what it sows, this and that. Oh, we looked at this crazy, man. Nothing's going to stop the empire of America. This place is going to live on forever. Now, all of a sudden, they say, actually, there is going to be a apocalyptic event, and there's nothing the government can do to save us, man. We're all doomed. But their inward thought is that their house is going to continue forever. Right? Read on.
Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations.
Their dwelling places. So remember, it said the dwelling place is going to be the fatness of the earth. So wherever they go, they saying we're going to have this land. We're going to have our inhabitants forever. All our generations going to have these things. Read on.
They call their lands after their own names.
Right. So you get Amerigo Vespucci. Obviously, we see all of the states and all of the names all come from him. You know, currencies. He puts his name on everything. So this is how we establish his rule. Let's go back to Maccabees now. I love my Northern Kingdom brothers, man. But they make loud ass cars, man. Get out of here. It's on the Sabbath day of the Lord, man. They doing all this foolishness. For real. But go ahead. Back to Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1.
Book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
So this is what happened. This is when the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked, because prior to the Greeks ruling, who was ruling? The Persians and the Medes, which is coming from the Elamites and all of that. They weren't Edomites. So now we're getting where Esau now is coming into power. This is around 333 BC. There was a number of different battles, from the battle of Gaugamela, the battle of Isis, that they went through in order to get this, get control of the earth. But read on down, just read down to verse 4.
Verse 2. And made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
See, the earth was quiet before him, meaning what? No nation decided to rise up against him. They knew that they had no chance. So the Greeks was in power. White man now has control of the earth. He's starting to develop into that that Psalms 49 and 11, with him having the inward thought of the houses continue forever, the dwelling places throughout all these generations, the earth being given into the hand of the wicked. Ultimate power now is given into the hands of the so-called white man. All right. Now let's jump over to Revelation 18 and 3. So now we see the transfer of power. We see who's ruling. 18 verse 3.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
You know what? Let's read up this a little bit. One down, 3, just for a little context.
Verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
Go ahead.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
So we know how America represents. Every foul spirit is here. We know all of the different attributes that America has, from the sodomite agenda to the pedophilia, to the injustices that happens, to the colonizations, to the rape, rob, murdering, destruction of our people and the Lord's people, the promotion of false ideologies and religions. You name it, it's all here. Okay. It says if you want an unclean spirit, you can come to America. You know, free of charge. You're gonna get possessed with everything. Read on.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
And all the nations have partaken in and sat at the table with America and said, pour me another. Wrath of fornication. Read on.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
Go ahead.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich throughout the abundance of her delicacies.
Now that's important. Remember this as we go through these slides, and I'm going to show y'all why and how America gets busy globally and economically. When it says all the merchants of the earth get waxing rich through them, we're going to see why and how. Okay. Read verse 4.
Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
So the Most High is telling us to deliver ourselves. You can write down Jeremiah 51 and 6. The Most High is telling us spiritually, we got to deliver ourselves. It says deliver our souls, man. Detach from the spirit, 51 and 6. Detach from the spiritual demon over here. Detach from this great harlot, man, who has managed to seduce and lay a hold of wickedness on our people. Go to Proverbs 23. Let's read 1 to 3. So Babylon, meaning this is an ancient Babylon. It's not talking about ancient Babylon. We're talking about modern Babylon, the spirit of Babylon, being resurrected in the form of America.
Proverbs what?
23. We'll start at verse 1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 1. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee.
So when we're sitting here amongst the rule of the so-called white man, it said, be considerate or consider what you're intaking and what you're involving yourselves in, because this whore likes to serve up all kind of poison. She unzips and pops a bra open, and them double D's of poison is getting served up to everybody. Now the Lord said, man, when you're sitting in this place, man, you got to diligently consider what's before you. Read on.
And put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite.
Go ahead.
Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat.
So this is the type of things that America offers. This is wisdom when the Most High is saying, when you're sitting amongst dignitaries and rulers and all that, know that, when you look at things, just look at it from the entertainment perspective. I thought it was funny. I seen I think they interviewed 50 Cent or something like that, and they said, how come he doesn't go to any of Puff Daddy's parties? And he was like, them ain't my type of parties. You got dudes that come and hug you from the front and the back. So when you know that that's the type of environment that you're in, just imagine in the entertainment industry, and these people are just so desirous to go to these little Hollywood parties, and you want to go in there. The Lord said, when you going in these type of realms, man, you better be careful of what you get involved in. Same way that you go and you get involved with some of the elements that America possesses. America's involved with Satanism, the occult, and all kind of madness, and you don't know what you get involved in, thinking you want to be involved with the higher echelons of power and esteem. No. Because this is what happens. It says, don't be desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meats. Meaning, what's the meat? The knowledge, the information, the things that are supposed to be a substance for our spirit. The Most High said this is all deceitful meats that come from this place. Just stay in Proverbs, go to 21. 21, let's read verse 12.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 12. The righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked.
So the righteous man, here we are in the house of the wicked. Remember, the earth's been given into the hand of the wicked. We have to wisely consider what's going on in this place. We got to wisely consider what's motivating this place. How's it staying in power? Why does our oppressors say that they're going to maintain possession of this place throughout all generations? What's so great about this place that they refuse to let a whole go? Why did they decide to go and kill millions of people to colonize this area and impose their will on innocent tribes in North, South, Central America, Canada, the Caribbean islands? Why did they impose their will like that and refuse to let our people go, refuse to do right? So a righteous man is going to wisely consider the house we in. Read on.
But God overthroweth the wicked for their wickedness.
The Most High is going to overthrow this place for all of their wickedness. All right, go to Jeremiah 51. And let's read 5 down to 9.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 5. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel.
You want verse 6? Read all the way to verse 9. So the Most High said what? For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Even though the children of Israel had committed themselves to sin, the Most High is letting it be known that we've never been forgotten. We've never been forsaken, right? Read on.
Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul.
That's the instruction that we were just reading in Revelation 18, where it says, come out of her, my people, be not partakers of sins. That don't mean you got to go run, because remember, the whole earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. Where and what country you going to run to that you figure you're going to escape the clutches of the control of the so-called white man. I'm gonna go to Africa. What? The British control Africa, the Chinese control Africa, Russia controls Africa. The French are still over there, even though they're revolting against them and trying to kick them up out of there. But Esau is running the whole program over there as well. I'm gonna go to the Philippines. The Spanish already, done touched on that. They're fully infiltrated with Catholicism, the so-called white man running over there. I mean, what country in the earth? There's a scripture, I think it's in Psalms 70, which say that this tongue is spread throughout the earth, meaning the language of English. You ain't got. I'm trying to find it. You ain't got to go there yet. The language is going to be the dominant language in the earth. Anywhere you go, man, they speak in English. I gotta find that one. But nonetheless, the Most High told us to flee and deliver every man his soul. We're concerned, and the Most High concerned with the soul of man, that we don't get corrupted. Okay, continue on.
For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense.
That's why the Most High just told us earlier in Proverbs that he's going to destroy the wicked for their wickedness. So the time for judgment and the iniquities of Babylon is come upon us. Okay, so even in times past, that ancient Babylon was already gone. Now we're talking about this new Babylon that's been risen up in the same spirit. The Most High said that it's going to be cut off in her iniquity. Notice it said her iniquity, because this goes back to Revelation 17, the great harlot, right? It's going to be cut off in her iniquity. This is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So payback is of the Most High. We know our brother James Brown said it first, but the Most High said it first, I should say. But continue all the way down to verse 9.
Verse 7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. Mm-hmm. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad.
See, the nations now have lost their mind dealing with the so-called white man in America, and they've all drunken. They've all partaken in the sins. They're all partaken in the evils. Hold that. It's in Psalm 73. Psalm 73 and 9. This is how we know all the nations, man, have bowed down and become subservient to America. 73 and 9 of Psalms.
The book of Psalm, chapter 73, verse 9. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth.
See that? Their tongue walking through the earth, meaning what? The lingua franca of the world. The most respected language in the world is English. I don't care where you go in the world, somebody has studied or learned English because they know. That's where the buck stops at. You want to deal with finance, you want to deal with history, world affairs, education, you're going to have to know English. You can go to Korea, Japan, China, you go check into a hotel there in Russia, somebody's going to come and speak English to you. Go to France, Africa, you name it, they speak it. I saw a video of some brother. He was in, I don't even know if it might have been a brother. I can't tell because he's pointing a camera at these little Hamites in some rural little tribal area. And he was saying, say your name. And the guy would be, say your name. And he making noise. The thing that stuck to me is he's speaking to them in English. Say your name. They understood that and still said their tribal names, which involve making, grammatical sounds and all of that. And they was in some desert, dirt, who knows what tribe they was. I said, if they can understand English here, man, this scripture is the truth. His tongue gonna walk throughout the whole earth. This is why all the nations have drunken the wine of the fornication, because they're all involved with America. America has been accepted as king ruler. Let's go back to Jeremiah and finish that up.
Jeremiah 51, verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken.
See, this place has been a golden cup Nobody coming and touch it. We're gonna see. I'm gonna show y'all in a minute the history and the breakdowns of America and what and how this place has become the golden cup and the golden child. I mean, hey, this place is it. Okay. Golden cup in the Lord's hands. Read on.
That made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk of her wine.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, the nations are mad.
Right.
Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, be she may be healed.
So the utter collapse of America has already began. We see it from the financial sector, the confidence of the people. Right now, they don't have a House Speaker right now, so politically they're all in disarray. They're involved in multiple wars all throughout the world. The value of the currency is falling. The whole confidence of Babylon right now is out the door. So the Most High saying this place is falling. There's cracks in the walls, man. Banks is closing all over the place. Interest rates sky high. Tent cities all over the place. Picketing and rioting and strikes happening every other week from various companies and unions. This place is in complete disarray. So it's falling and it's going to be destroyed because the next thing is they keep involving themselves with all these wars. This is how America's going to end up getting hit up. All right. And it says, oh, and take balm. If so, she may be healed. Oh, maybe America's going to repent. Maybe the so-called white man is going to surrender and say, you know what? I repent for my evil deeds, man. I want to serve the Lord, man. That's the only balm that can heal is if he repents. But is he going to do that? Read verse 9.
We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed.
No. Go ahead.
Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country.
See, the nation is going to flee up out of here. They're going to say, you know what? Babylon is finished. We got to get back to our own country. Go ahead.
For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies.
See, that's why we get into that article and that study I showed last night about 71% of people saying that they won't trust the government or America when the apocalyptic judgments happen. That's why they were just saying their judgment has reached the heavens. This is beyond us. We can't vote. We can't ask. We can't picket, strike to try to change anything. And everybody's got their own reasoning to saying what they think is going to happen, whether it's from climate change to nukes to a zombie apocalypse. Everybody got a particular reason, but they all say America's going to get hit with something. Economic collapse, civil unrest, multiple reasons that they were saying, right? So Babylon is going to fall. Let's go back over to Revelation 18. I'm going to pick it up, move a little bit faster so I can get some of these prophecies so we can be clear. No, the land that Esau is inhabiting, where the wicked is America. We're seeing the judgment that's going to happen to this place. Why they cover this place so much? When did they come into power? Revelation 18, started up verse 11 and read down. Because if we're reading all these things, this is all going to be prophetic when we're seeing the benefits that the nations received out of America. We're going to see all those things in a minute when I pull up this PowerPoint. And we'll see why the nations were so upset, crying and whining and missing America so much because of how much they benefited. But read that. Revelation 11, read all the way down to 17.
The book Revelation, chapter 18, verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble.
So all resources can be found right here, from jewels to gold, the precious linens and all, everything comes all here. You go downtown, you can find pretty much all of this stuff minus probably the wood. That's just downtown here. Where we go for the garment? Let's go down to the garment district. Oh, we need to get that fine linen. Oh, we want the purple. We want the scarlet. We want the silk. Just here in LA alone, going downtown, we can find most of the stuff. Going down to the diamond district, you want gold, you want silver, precious stones, diamonds. You can go buy your jewelry down there. But imagine this whole country supplied with all of this stuff. all the different manners of wood. You want oak wood, you want the cherry wood, you want pine. Oh, you can get it all right here. I remember there was a show called it was Axe. I don't know if it was Axemen or something, but it was something about it was like different companies that would get wood. And there was one dude, man, he was down in the swamps of Louisiana or something like that. You remember seeing that? He was barefoot. He used to run around hopping on his little thing. But what was he fishing out wood out of swamps and all of that? And that wood was worth like hundreds and hundreds of dollars per pound. I'm saying he finding this stuff underground in swamps. Cypress wood. I mean, full of treasures, right? This is all that's going down. So continue on, verse 13.
Verse 13.
Yeah.
And cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves.
And what?
And slaves.
Go ahead.
And souls of men.
And souls of men, which they have encapsulated in this spirit, right?
And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. And all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all.
See, America's going to be destitute. Economically, it's going to start getting shut down. We start seeing all these things happening right now. This is why you see this BRICS economy coming up. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Iran, the United Arab Emirates. All these other nations are all lining up because they see an opportunity to try to overtake the economic system that America's established. If the dollar is the world reserve currency, all currencies in the earth operate off of the dollar. That's failing, and now these other nations are trying to come in and take over that. So the merchants are realizing that the dainty things and the goodly things that are departing from America are starting to lose its influence. Read on.
And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing.
Right, so they don't want no parts of that. Read on.
And saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple, and scarlet, and decked with gold, and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all the company in ships, and sailors, and as many as trades by sea, stood afar off.
So we're seeing they all going to stand afar off because they're going to see the ultimate judgment of America getting destroyed, and they're going to be cut off from all of their particular resources. All right, jump over to Daniel, the 7th chapter. So we're dealing heavily with prophecy right now, and it's all going to make sense in a hot minute. So we just seen everything that America offers, everything that America has offered, and everything that America utilizes to gain power, seduction, control of the nations. The nations are all going to be upset when they start seeing their beloved gray harlot, you know, starting to get a little stain on their garment, and the pearls is starting to fade away. Now they're all going to be in dire straits, right? So Daniel 7, verse 7, we're going to just get, I'm not going to do the whole, I'll do Daniel the 7th chapter another time, but we're just going to concentrate on this fourth beast. Daniel 7, and you can read verse 7 and 8.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Now, if we know the three beasts that was before it, they were all being described, right? What did it say that the first beast looked like? Anybody remember? Well, we can go back. Verse 4 tells you it's like a lion that had eagle's wings. The second was a bear that had 3 ribs in its mouth. The third one was a leopard. You're looking a little confused back there. Daniel, the 7th chapter, describes 4 beasts. First three was described. We got clearly understanding. Lion with eagle's wings was the first one. The second one was a bear that had 3 ribs in its mouth. Third one was like unto a leopard. The fourth one, we didn't hear a description, did we? It just said the fourth beast. It was terrible, strong, exceeding, great iron teeth. Right? So Ezra's got the complete vision. See, Daniel got partial. You know, like the scriptures say, you know in part, you prophesy in part. The Most High reveals everything by measure, right? So I think it's in Isaiah 34 and 17 tells you that the Most High gives, reveals his word by line. So Daniel received a certain amount. Ezra will complete it. So hold Daniel 7. We're going to go to 2nd Ezra 11. Let's read 36 down to 40. 2nd Ezra 11, 36 down to 40.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 11, verse 36. Then I heard a voice which said unto me, Look before thee, and consider the thing that thou seest.
Go ahead.
And behold, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood. And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts, whom I made to reign in my world?
So what did it say was the 4th beast? Who was it talking to?
Wrong.
But what was the beast representative? What animal?
No.
No, it said that he beheld, and lo, it was as were a roaring lion being chased out of the wood. So remember, back in Daniel, it said that the 4th beast was dreadful, terrible, strong exceedingly. It had the great iron teeth, devoured and breaking pieces. But it says in verse 37, and I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee. So he's speaking to the eagle. The eagle is the 4th beast. So even when we're talking about Rome, what's Rome represent? What represented Rome? The eagle, right? So the eagle, and just like America, represents the eagle. So I'll get more in detail on that when I do Daniel chapter 7 another time. But the 4th beast is the eagle, and the Most High is going to explain it as we continue on. Verse 39 one more time.
Verse 39. Art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them?
That the end of the times is going to come through them. So this 4th beast, this final beast, which represents the eagle, said this is going to be the end. It's going to come through Esau's reign. So when we read 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So the end times are going to come through this eagle and this Edomite kingdom. Read.
And the 4th came and overcame all the beasts that were past.
So this 4th beast, this 4th eagle is going to come and overtake all of the beasts that was before it. So when we go back to Daniel, it's going to make even more sense. Read on.
And had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit.
Dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. So this eagle came, subdued the world with great power, and it ruled with oppression and deceit. Let's go back to Daniel one more time. 7 and 7. Read it again.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible.
So what's the 4th beast, y'all? The eagle, dreadful and terrible. Read on.
And strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth.
The great iron teeth was representing the weaponry, the warfare that it came with. During the Iron Age, the Romans was managing to develop different weapon systems, from the catapult to the cleats on the sandals, various types of swords. They were coming up and developing all different types of warfare tactics that they learned and adopted from other cultures, and they mastered them. So these great iron teeth that they came with was part of the weaponry. Remember, the Most High said that by thy sword shalt thou live. It was a blessing for Esau. So Rome is coming in and taking full advantage of that blessing. Read on.
And it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it.
So it devoured and break in pieces what? The foundations of the kingdoms and the beasts that was before it. So it took complete control and complete dominance. You know, they had what was known as the Greco-Roman era, where it was a combination of Greece and Rome culturally, you know, with writings and them trying to merge cultures. Rome said to hell with all of that. We're getting rid of all Greek influence. We're going to be the dominant. Remember, if y'all remember, every time we deal with dedication and we read about Antiochus, it says that he was a hostage in Rome, you know, before he got freed up. So Rome and Greece was going to war all the way back during the times of the Maccabees, but Greece was a dominant power. If you read in First Maccabees, I think it's the 8th chapter, it tells you how Judas, you know, Maccabeus heard about the Romans and took the attitude of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and he aligned themselves with the Romans to help them try to overthrow the Greeks. But what they end up doing, they end up getting backstabbed anyway. You know, you can't trust your enemy. The Most High told us that. You try to make a league with the Romans and get the Greeks up off your back, and then what ends up happening? The Romans end up just riding on your back right after. So it says he had great iron teeth. It devoured and break in pieces, stamped the residue with the feet of it. So they put a complete destruction to the kingdoms and the beasts that was before it, just like we read in 2nd Ezra 11, right? And then it says, read on.
I considered the horns.
Read it after the stamp with the residue of the feet.
Mm-hmm. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
So we're looking at the 10 horns, even establishing the prophecy of the 10 kingdoms that was going to come up out of Esau's rule that you can read. We read in in Revelation 12, Revelation 12 and 3 in particular. But the 7 heads, the 10 horns, y'all remember hearing about those? Mm-hmm. Now, it also said that it was going to stamp the residue, break in pieces. So even when it broke in pieces and it was diverse from all the other beasts that was before it, we're talking about even the governmental system of how Rome ruled. So when Rome got in control, the break in pieces, they had like it's known as like client states, which is like little sub-regions that had their own little rulers. They didn't start off with Caesars. They didn't start off with kings. All the previous kingdoms all had kings, right? Babylon had kings. Greece had kings. The Persians and the Medes had kings. They had monarchies. They had a divine line of rule that was going to be substantiated for who was going to take control and power over the kingdom. Rome came in and they had what was known as a council, a CONSUL, a council, with the elites would rule. All of them would serve for like a year. They would establish rule and judgment and all of that. When that ended up getting corrupted, that's when Julius Caesar came in and established himself as quote unquote king. So it was a transition. So when it says it's diverse from the first, they were diverse from their warfare tactics, the weapons that they used, how they established dominance. They came in, they had split up and divided up the kingdom. They had a different way that they was ruling and established their government. Then afterwards, they had the council, they had the Senate, how they would run, and deal with judgment, decision making, law making, all those other things. They operated different than all the other kingdoms that was before it, right? Then it said it had the 10 horns. That's the establishment of the 10, kingdoms that's going to come up out of Esau's power and that rule. Okay, read verse 8.
Verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn.
And the horns represent the power, okay? The power structure, the centerpiece. If you look at it from like a rhino, a unicorn, those type of, the power is what we're talking about with the horns, okay? So it says, and he considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. Now, this little horn that's coming up is America. It's developed out of the 10, okay? Read on.
and it had great iron teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Read it one more time. Yeah.
Verse 8, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots.
So when we're looking at America, right, there were 3 other countries that was occupying America before the British and well, yeah, let's just say it like that. Before the British ended up, America had the Civil War, broke off from the British, and ended up trying to establish rule over here as an independent country. So you had the French over here, Spanish was over here, and you had the British over here. America was divided up. It wasn't all one big old melting pot. The French had the the Louisiana Purchase and the little Midwest area. The Spanish had Mexico and all the West Coast side, and then the British had the 13 colonies on the East Coast. It was a transition of power, starting from the East, South, Midwest, all the way to the West, until they had the whole empire under one particular rule, and they adopted the same governmental structure that Rome had. So they put in the Senate, they put in, the House of Representatives, which would have been like, the council and all that. They have a president, which would ultimately be the new Caesar, the new Pharaoh, or the new monarch, so they utilize all those things. So when it says the little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns, so it's talking about Britain, France, and Spain. These were the other 3 horns that got plucked up by the root. So wars end up having to happen in order for America to ultimately be established. So finish that one up.
And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
So mouth speaking great things. So what was the great things? He said, man, manifest destiny is my destiny to rule. He signs off on papal bulls. He has a doctrine of discovery. All of these things was establishments of doctrines that the white man said he was born to rule. So when he speaks great things, he did it outside of, we read earlier in Job, we said, what's the Most High that I should serve him? I'm not dealing with all that. So the great things he's going to speak is against the Most High, and to establish himself to say he was born to rule. Drop down and let's read 23 and 24. Let's get more understanding regarding the plucking up of the roots of the 3.
Verse 23.
Okay.
Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down.
So it says the 4th beast, which shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, going to be diverse from all the kingdoms. So we know about Rome, right? Read on.
And shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. The 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them.
So those 10 kingdoms, which was the development of the EU, and America establishing the European Economic Community. These are all of the kingdoms. You got Belgium, France, Denmark, West Germany, the UK, Italy, the Netherlands, Greece, Luxembourg, and Ireland were the first 10 to establish the EU, right? They even had all Edomite kingdoms, right? And out of that constraint comes America. So the little horn that comes up out of that particular establishment of kingdoms is America. Now it says, in the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And it says, and another shall arise after them. So after the 10 have already had their establishment of rule, there's one that's going to come up out of that that's going to be establishing its own dominance. So go ahead.
And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings.
So he subdued the 3 kings by what? The Spanish-American War, French-Indian War, and the Revolutionary War. He had to have 3 wars with these 3 other kings, Britain, France, and Spain, in order to have complete control of America. Everybody following? This is the cup, the golden cup in the Lord's hand. He said, this is what I want to fight for. Everybody wanted to be the golden cup. Esau fought himself in order to gain power. I mean, that's what he does. he's power hungry. He don't care if he got to kill his own. But it's about where they come from and who's going to establish the rule. Was it going to be the Spanish? Was it going to be the British? Was it going to be the French? No. Esau said, well, we're going to have a revolutionary war. We're going to fight each other. We're breaking off from the British. Forget these taxing of the T's and everything else. And then even after that, we're going to have a civil war between the North and the South. Once we get an establishment of that and we get the government structure set in place, now we're going to make sure we go against the French. You know, he had to wipe everybody out to get control of this place right here, the golden cup, the fatness of the earth. Okay. I want to get to this proper. I have some other things. I was going to go into Revelation 17 and all that, but hopefully y'all get the point. I don't want to go too deep on it. But let's get to this power. Because Revelation 17 is important regarding how America rules and what they did. And it just goes into more understanding regarding Daniel 7 and the 10 horns, the transferring of power, how America seduces, the nations and gets us all caught up. But that's for another time. Maybe I'll do Revelation 17 another time. But hopefully everybody sees just through Daniel the struggle of power. Is it showing? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. See, I got the scripture. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see what the screen, if it's sharing like that. Thought it was showing me. All this time y'all should have told me, like, well, all we seeing is y'all scriptures. Good Lord. Let's go this way. All right. So let's get to this PowerPoint now. So everybody can see, the leadership and how Esau's ruling, right? So the title is here: Esau and the American Empire, Fatness of the Earth, right? All right, so here. One thing we know, how's America? Everybody see that? All right. One thing we do see here is that America has 750 military bases worldwide. So if they're going to establish control over the entire earth, they have to have a world police, military stations all over the place. All the nations all have bowed down and become subservient to America and said, yeah, sure. Bring your armies over here. Yeah, sure. Set up your armies over here. Set up your military posts over here. You gonna protect us? Yep, we're gonna protect you. Make sure we come over there. We get the resources and everything else. So through military might, America sets up military bases. No other nation in the world has this much military power, influence, or control on the earth besides America. Okay. Look at this. The U.S. funds shadow police units all over the world. So when we look at it, we say, man, why is America acting like the police of the world? It's because they are. From the military bases to funding shadow police units all over the world. It says they pursue matters ranging from heroin smuggling to protecting pangolins, pursuing American interests when regular cops can't be trusted. They said that they pursue American interests. So America makes sure that their interests are being kept all over the world. That's why Slow Biden, when he came out and said, well, hey, I want the world to know. Make sure everybody knows that America, what do you say? That the America's got Israel's back throughout the earth. Let me stop it. Is this show? How's this showing? It's showing like that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Isn't that Interpol? International Police?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, Interpol. So, he's got the shadow police over the world. He got 750 military bases worldwide, right? Now, if we're talking about the global economy, where everything flows, the money. Now, it says, this is from a website called the Visual Capitalist. It said the U.S. share of the global economy has nearly halved since 1960. America's nominal GDP is current U.S. dollars at 21.4 trillion, or about 24% of the share of the global economy. So America is built on borrowing. They sell their debt People invest in it. They pay back in interest. Right now, America's 30 some odd $trillion in debt? Is it 33, 31? I mean, at this point, man, it's all fantasy numbers. It doesn't even matter. He's not going to pay it back. It could be 50 million, 50 trillion, 34. I think they got it on the world, the debt clock. Wherever he's at now, who knows?
It's over 30.
It's 34. Yeah.
Let's see what they got. U.S.
I can
national
more
debt
than
clock.
that.
It's not sharing?
Uh-uh.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 34 trillion.
It very, very, very well could be. Let's see. Wow, this thing is tripping.
So global economy.
It don't matter. Just like you said, I ain't gonna pay it.
Is he gonna pay it back? 33 trillion. There you go.
33.
You think he can? That's $99,000 per citizen, 258,000 per taxpayer a debt. Who's paying that? It ain't sharing. What's going on here, man?
That's a significant number.
It's still in your spouse.
I don't know why it's not sharing right. Hold on. It's supposed to share my entire screen. It still ain't sharing?
No.
Mm-mm.
Hold on, man. This thing is definitely true. They won't even close up.
No, I just locked into your PowerPoint right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. What's going on?
Leave it there.
But I was trying to say.
There you go.
There it is.
Okay, so the debt clock, we see it there, 33 trillion, right? So he ain't paying none of that back, man. So we go back over here. So it says that the world's largest economy, the U.S. is the world's largest economy by nominal GDP, and its influence on the global economy is quite remarkable. As of 2019, the U.S. made up almost a quarter of the global economy, but how has America's share of the economic pie changed over time? It says the U.S. share of the global economy over time. While the U.S. economy has grown quickly over time, the global economy has grown quicker. Now, mind you, America is like one of the youngest. Well, let's put it like this: as far as superpowers are concerned, America is the youngest country founded. It's only been here for 200 some odd years. You got these ancient kingdoms, you know, in the Middle East and the East, China and all that. They got centuries worth of dynasties. America popped up last on the scene, 1776. Get things cracking, man. Took over the whole earth.
Legend.
Yeah, easy. Since peaking at 40% in 1960, the U.S. share of the world economy has been cut almost in half, despite a rising national GDP being the birthplace of some of the biggest companies on the planet. So keep that in mind. Biggest companies on the planet, born right here. Continuing on. We'll see here. Now, I always make mention about these delta routes. The Mississippi, there's only 3 deltas in the world. You got the Nile, the Mississippi, and the Amazon in South America. So America controls 2 of the delta regions in the earth. Why is the Mississippi Delta important? It says import and export advantage over roads and railways. So other countries would need to have established roads, railways for trains and all that to import, export their stuff. America's got a route coming down through the Delta where they don't have to worry about any of those roads. You just take this waterway all the way down and you're going to get imports and exports on both the east and the west coast, and it goes right through the Gulf of Mexico to lead you right out into the Pacific or the Atlantic, whichever way you want to go.
And that's where all the oil is.
All the oil. So it says there's no need to build roads or tracks. It makes shipping 30 times more efficient and cheaper. While other countries are struggling trying to figure out ways to get their exports out, America's got one already built in. And that's what helps make it so popular. This is why it's such a problem right now. If you notice, the Mississippi has experienced a drought the last 2 years. And now that shows another way how the Most High is touching, America, saying, I'm going to start cutting you off. Right? So let's look here about the Delta. The Mississippi River Delta is the longest navigable river in the world. In the world. Right here. That's why America and Esau said, I'm not letting this place go. I got the biggest and the longest delta in the world, 2,300 miles long, covers America from top to bottom, from Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico. So any and all exports, anything that's getting built, anything that needs to be shipped from Minnesota all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico can go freely through America without having to pay nobody extra. You ain't got to build no roads, no taxes, no planes, nothing. It all comes through the waterway. Barrier islands. They got these reefs all around America. Why are they important? It says that a barrier island is long, narrow deposits of sand that form parallel to the shore and away from surf action. They're found all over the world, but are most well known along the entire east coast of North America. Why are barrier reefs important? Now, notice up here, it says from Rio Grande in Texas to Chesapeake Bay in Virginia, there's multiple connecting barrier islands. Why are they important? Barrier islands are narrow stretches of land that run parallel to coastlines, made up of deposited sand and vegetation. These islands can form protective barriers that reduce coastal erosion, purify water, and help protect wildlife and vegetation. So when we see how the indigenous tribes is over here surviving and living off of the land because these barrier reefs was filtering out the water, being able to protect wildlife that they can drink and eat and have that supply already ready-made, vegetation, and it helped protect from the island, the coastal islands like Florida and all these other, the East Coast islands, New England, North Carolina, from eroding.
Yeah.
So if they didn't have these things, man, the East Coast had been eroded and got jacked up.
Wow.
But America got protection from these barrier islands. So it said the barrier islands are separated from the mainland by a shallow body of water and can stretch for miles along the coast. Barrier islands help to protect the mainland by absorbing energy from incoming waves. By creating a protected area of water, barrier islands also allow wetlands to thrive, which in turn creates a supportive environment for birds and other wildlife. So you got this, the food supply taken care of. You got vegetation. You got protection of preservation of the land, already built in here in America.
Water purification.
There you go. Water purification is already here. Self-built. Now, you see here the Louisiana Purchase, right? The greatest natural navigational transportation system in the world got established through the Louisiana Purchase. So this will give them access to the Mississippi River. Because remember, early off, this is all owned by France.
All right.
America had to go to war for them things. That's why they talk about the three horns had to be subdued and taken out. So they knew and understood what they were doing. Let's look at this little video, man. A little history. Short video.
On the 30th of April 1803, the Louisiana Purchase Treaty was concluded. France agreed to sell 828,000 square miles of territory stretching from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains, and which doubled the size of the United States. New Orleans offered important access to both the Mississippi and the Gulf of Mexico, so was vital to American trade and the provision of supplies to the new Western territories that were being settled. Shortly after France regained control of New Orleans from Spain in the early 1800s, Americans were banned from using warehouses in the city. President Jefferson ordered diplomats in Paris to negotiate the purchase of the city from France. But on the 11th of April 1803, the French negotiators offered to sell the entire Louisiana territory for $15 million. The American government agreed, buying the land for less than 3 cents per acre.
Can you imagine that? 3 cents per acre, man. They went and got control of this land, man, that was worth billions later. But that's the manipulation of Esau, man. He knew what he was doing, and he knew the value of what the land presented. What was they going to do over there in France with it? They was prepared to take over with it, right?
On the 30th.
So now let's continue on looking at just agriculturally the things that America has prepared. So if you look over here based upon region, these are all things that America already is self-built in, from agriculture, crop growing. Don't really have to be dependent upon no other nation to do it. So it says the American Midwest has the largest stretch of arable farmland on the planet. The west portion of the Midwest is dry and prime for wheat and grain like Ukraine. The Midwest is 2 times the size of France, growing crops like corn and soybeans. A third of the planet's production, or 150 $150 billion per year is in agricultural produce. It's an agricultural superpower built within a network of rivers for export and it's easy and inexpensive. So just when you're looking at it from a region of the West, where the plains areas was, that they had to go take out the Cherokees for, they had to take out the Comanche for, to get that land, which was great grazing land for the buffalo, for the cows and everything else. They had to take them out, take over the land, and now they monopolize it because now they can grow wheat, they can grow all different types of grains because the land is already primed to get those things. Now they say Ukraine is the breadbasket of the world, all grains coming through there and from Russia. America's got all of that right here, right now. But they industrialize, they build on stuff. They could be, supplying the world with grain if they wanted to. America could be completely self-sufficient. They can cut off all the nations on the earth and say, I don't need you. We got everything here. We got food here, crops here, livestock here. We got the reefs that's going to take, the water supply and protect the erosion from the land. So it said even the Midwest, it says it's as big as France. So imagine France as being, you growing nothing but corn and soybeans over there. And if you look at all these ingredients from everything from, just look at a lot of ingredients. You see, soy is almost in every damn thing. Corn is in almost everything. Just look up the usages of these things. And you'll see how many different things you can get out of just corn and soy. All right. So just agriculture and crop growing, America flourishes in $150 billion a year. I mean, how can you be $33 trillion in debt when you can make $150 billion just off of your agriculture and crops alone?
And look at the cotton belt. That's where all your clothes come from.
That's absolutely.
During that time, cotton was key.
Cotton, sugar cane, tobacco. Everything was all flourishing over here. So, and they know it. That's why they came over here and said, we got to fight for this place.
Yeah.
We ain't going nowhere. Yeah. So looking at U.S. agriculture statistics and facts, thanks to its natural resources and land conditions, the United States was always destined to be one of the world's leading agricultural producers and suppliers. In 2019, the U.S. farming industry employed more than 960,000 people around the country. Across the U.S., there are numerous farms in various sizes. In 2021, the total number of farms stood at just over 2 million. On average, farm sizes in the U.S. are around 445 acres in size, and in total, there are about 89.5 million acres of farmland across the country. Altogether, the real estate value of farmland in the U.S. amounted to around $2.9 trillion. So just the farming land alone is worth almost $3 trillion. No other country can boast that and say, all I'm talking about is just my agriculture. I'm worth $3 trillion. What do you got over there in Uzbekistan? You ain't got nothing. That's why when we read about Europe being the pit, they ain't got no resources over there, man. They need everything to come from over here. They may be able to grow grain in Ukraine and Russia, but outside of that, Americans got that and some.
It lets you know, man, the Most High had a divine plan. He wasn't going to cart us off to another Europe.
Right.
But America, where the bulk of us are, and to survive over the generations, the years.
Even in our captivity, most I said, man, I'll make sure you're taken care of over there. You're going to have the resources to survive. It's all going to get snatched up and stolen from you. Right. But you're going to be able to survive over there in America. Right. So America comes over here. That's why the Most High said it's a golden cup in the Lord's hand.
So in Revelation, when he said that we were going to flee into the land of milk and honey, that makes sense now.
Now you see. Now you see why this place is it. Now you see, like, this is it. Let me go back over here. All right, so that's more on agriculture. Let's continue. So now you got all these different ports. You got the greatest port access in the world. All of the ports where the merchants of the earth, remember that in Revelation? All the merchants of the earth coming in, waxing rich. They got all these different outlets to try to get their stuff on over here so they can come up on. Okay, so they've got ports that cover 2 major oceans. the Gulf. So you got from the Atlantic, the Pacific, and you got the Gulf of Mexico. They got 3 different ways that imports can come in out over here. Exports can go out. They got some of the greatest ports. That's just America. We ain't even talking about the Panama Canal. We ain't talking about South Central America, because it's all America.
Right.
This is just in North America, the great thing, the great port access that they have over the earth. What happened, man, when the pandemic hit and all them ships and tankers was left out there in San Pedro, or they was parking them in Long Beach, parking them on the street, and all the prices was going up. The industry was shut down because they couldn't get the ports opened up. Man, they shut down everything. Prices went up because of scarcity of goods. They couldn't get stuff in here. So America controls a whole lot of that. All right, so they got the greatest port access in the world. Now, China has the biggest ports, but as far as the access, America's got the greatest access because it's got 3 different ways you can reach them. China, you got like one way, you got to come on over there. They might have these big old ports and exports, but America's got the greater accesses, which means more people are going to do business with them. Case in point here. I know it's a little small. Hopefully y'all can see it. This is a chart about the top exporters and importers by country in 2021. This is the latest you can get. I try to get on. See over here said the year range. I tried to do 2022. It wasn't updated yet. So 2021, as of 2021, the #1 exporter and importer by country is the United States. So that's why we see Revelation 18 and Jeremiah 51 with all of the nations coming over here drinking of the cup of the wine, and all of them living deliciously with her, and because America is the place where all the nations come and they get paid and gonna know that they're. I mean, are they driving Mercedes over there in Germany, or are they trying to get them over here? Toyota and Mitsubishi and Hyundai, and they bring them over here, man. The damn Chinese over there riding bikes, walking the streets and hitting the trains. They ain't worried about driving those dang Nissans over there in Japan.
What do you call them? Rickshaws and things.
Oh yeah.
Rickshaw?
Yeah, it's like they run it. They run with it.
They run.
Oh, you got somebody running? Yeah, that's old school China, man.
It's real old school.
But we see here, America's got the top ones, man. Comes down to import exports, man. Nobody's beating America. Top 15 ports in the Americas. This is including South America. It's all right here. From LA as being the #1, all the way down to Brazil, you got #5. New York, New Jersey, you got the 2nd biggest ports. So this is the greatest port access in the world. They got the top 15 is right here in America, right? Look at the lakes. The waterways is always a asset when it comes down to shipping. Access in and out of the country or whatnot, fresh water. So it says the Great Lakes up there in Minnesota and all of that. The Great Lakes ocean ports that connect the Mississippi and provides export and imports between states from Cleveland, Buffalo, Detroit. They're all taking advantage of all these lakes and waterways, man. They're all connected because they all do business here. It travels all the way up, and you can see up here it goes all the way up to Quebec. So they can even reach up into Canada. Michigan and Detroit, they like Detroit and Canada is like neighbors. You cross the border, go gambling in Canada, come back over. The drive or even following the waterways you can get from Detroit to Buffalo, New York, by water, just as well as you can drive. And it says it goes down south, going all the way down into Ohio or into Cleveland. So it's got an inner working where commerce can happen all through the waterways, through the Great Lakes system. All right, so now here, it's got no fear of regional rivals, Canada or Mexico. They don't have the resources to support their lands. So America, the middle America has got all of the resources that we just seen, from agriculture to the waterways, to the port systems. Mexico can't compete because they don't have the resources and the land resources. Canada can't compete because they ain't got the land resources, right? So it says in 1840s, the U.S. conquered and annexed Mexico. It got agricultural lands of California, Texas, It left with no natural rivers. This is speaking about Mexico. No natural rivers and only one coastline port. Canada is too cold because of the Canadian Shield and stripped of usable soil. 50% of their population live near the U.S. borders, Toronto or Ontario. So, you know, when you talk about Canada, nobody living way up here in northern parts of Canada is too cold. So everybody's huddled up by the borders of America in order to make sure that they can stay afloat. So we see here Quebec, Ottawa, Toronto, all of them up in the top right-hand corner. They're all bordering and being close to America. Mexico the same way. They don't have the same resources. You can get avocados and stuff like that from them, but when you're talking about global need for production like grains and crops that the world would use, not just culturally, America's got it all. Once they took over Mexico, they snatched up the lands that once was Mexico. They locked it down. That was part of that Spanish-American War.
And the Rio Grande is close to America too.
Yeah. Right here. Right on that border. So this is pre-colonization of Mexico. You know, we always say, man, California was part of Mexico. As we see the whole, you know, strain right now about who's illegal and who's a migrant and who isn't. Before America, man, you know, went to war and smashed on Mexico and took the land from them, they had a great amount of land from Mexico to Texas to up in the Portland area, California, right? But Esau knew what he wanted. He needed everything in order to take control. So here's a little video on that, man. The Spanish, the Mexican-American War.
In Mexico, Texas, which is populated mainly by settlers from the United States, declares its independence. After a war, the Republic of Texas is created and in 1845 is annexed to the United States. But as the border is poorly defined, both countries are at war. The United States prevails and takes the opportunity to annex New Mexico and California, where the discovery of gold causes a rush that attracts hundreds and thousands of pioneers of all origins.
Now notice, remember, they said that after they got rid of that, what were they trying to get? Gold. They wanted the gold. Yeah. Now look at the deaths. If y'all can see that. That Mexican-American War. The U.S., Esau fighting against, you know, the Mexicans and whatever Spaniards was there, whatnot. America lost 1,700. Mexico lost 5,800. So when you're talking about living by the sword, and this is why he speaks great things as spoken of in Daniel 7 and 8, because he says this is manifest destiny. Can't nobody stop me. I'm destroying and killing everything, and I'm taking control of everything. So look at it. It was like 4-1. Yeah. You know, one person killed 4 at a time. Well, you look at it, the numbers in that way, right? So look at here. So they went for the gold now. Now, if we're talking about even gold, so we got agriculture, import, exports, they control it. Land, as far as fertility, the fruitful lands and whatnot, America's got it all. Now, who's got all the gold? You see right here, number 1, USA. I don't know if my cursor's showing.
You would think
it is
Africa.
You would think, but no, America got it.
Wow.
And then they go over there and they manipulate Africa.
Right.
See right here, the world's biggest gold mine. Number 1 is America, the Nevada gold mine. See?
That I didn't know.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, America, we just seen it. They said we're coming for the gold. It's still here. What did he do with Montezuma down there when Montezuma had the cities of gold and all that, man? The Spanish came and said we want all that gold. So clearly this is what they was after.
That's when they had that gold rush in, what was it, 1849?
See? Now we see. Now look here. That's a geography. The geography of America has it far removed from any potential outside threats. No rivals can develop within or near. Also, it has 2 oceans as only way of access, the Atlantic and the Pacific, which gives it an island empire feel of a continental proportion. It hasn't been invaded since the British. It's basically impossible to invade or occupy. So we see here, America and the Americas being in the center, let's just say the Earth ain't flat, but if we're saying if it's flat, because we're looking at it from this map, it's in the middle. You coming from the east, we're gonna see you because you got to cross over this Pacific. You coming from the west, we're gonna see you because you got to cross over this Atlantic. Nobody's coming from the bottom, nobody's coming from the top. This is why it can stand and defend itself, because it's completely fortified. East, west, don't matter. The only way you coming at us is you got to come through these waters. Or you come through the air. We got the satellites up. We got the air defense, missile defense systems and all of that. Nobody's coming in to get this. We're back against the wall. We see everything coming. So that's why America sits back and says, who's going to come in and pay? Who's going to? That's why, China keep trying to creep on over there. Maybe we can negotiate with Cuba. Maybe we can negotiate with Venezuela. We got to get it a little closer. Russia coming over there, Cuba. Hey, you need a little bit of money, Cold War help, Venezuela. Well, we'll come over there and help you. So they trying to ease on over there and break in somehow without being detected. So here we see global naval power. So even if that's the case, the number one Navy is America. You're not even coming against America if it comes down to naval statistics. They got that locked down.
That's why they were so mad at Trump this week when he shared the submarine nuclear weaponry with this billionaire. I forget where it was from, but they were skeptical that billionaire would share that.
Yeah, kind of, because they know that's the keys to keeping America. That's why America's got to get hit with missiles. Because nobody's gonna come and invade and roll up on the shores and jump off and ground the air come. No, they ain't coming. The only way they coming is ICBMs. We got to launch them, and 100 at a time, because hopefully one or two of them will make it through.
Well, that's why they go over there in North Korea. He's threatening.
Kim Jong-un.
That he can send missiles over.
Yeah, because they know that's the only way you're gonna touch America. You gotta hit them with the missile. So, and this is why they try to get to Cuba. So Cuba's the only country that can damage America because of a strategic position that can stop access to Mississippi and Louisiana. So that's why they always trying to get in there in Cuba. From the Cuban Missile Crisis to, the Chinese is over there right now, Russia over there, because they can shut off access to the Gulf. They can cut off that Mississippi Delta. They can cut off that form of import-export. It can bomb, the southern portions of America, from Texas to Louisiana to Florida to the East Coast, the Carolinas. If any of America's enemies get control of Cuba, that's the best strategic places you can hit them up at. Okay, so it says America's a top strategic position that can stop access to Mississippi and Louisiana. This is why it's such a threat from foreign occupation. Florida and the Yucatan Strait, by itself, it can't do much, but the U.S. sanctions keep it in check. That's why they always make sure that they stay on top of Cuba. Couple more, and then we're gonna close out. So, list of countries by oil production. Who's number one? Who do y'all see that? So America's got the oil, got the gold, got the agriculture, got the strategic position within the earth to defend itself, got the nukes, got the Navy. What else do they need? This is the fatness of the earth. The U.S. has vast oil reserves. It's the largest producer of oil. 6 out of 7 barrels of oil are used for war. Were used for World War II. Its allies or energy and fuel came from America. By the mid-1970s, demand outpaced production, and it fell off and couldn't maintain. OPEC, which is the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, nations took over and boycotted the U.S. over its relations with Israel and the war. The U.S. will later regain its number one ranking after wars and sanctions. So, America controls all the, you got the oil, man, you got the power to control energy, gas, food, you name it. America's number one in it, man. You would think Ishmael is, no, America's number one. America's number one. And here's and one of the biggest oil fields, I think is the second one, is in Texas.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons he's so arrogant.
There you have it. That's why he speaks great things. That's why he, go ahead.
And Texas is right next to Louisiana, where the Gulf of Mexico is,
Mhm.
where all the oil comes from. Just like the Persian Gulf or the Mexican Gulf has the same type of resources.
Absolutely. It's a 20 billions of oil a day can be produced out of there if they want.
Kind of,
U.S. started fracking Barnett Shale and new oil fields, Permian Basin and Wolfberry Woods, Worlds. Those are the two oil companies. The second largest oil field in the world is located in Texas. 45% of domestic oil. Bakken Field of North Dakota is the second largest in the U.S. Gas fields in the Gulf of Mexico, National Petroleum Reserves in the Pacific Northwest, and Marcellus Shale. From 2002 to 2019, this discovery tripled U.S. estimated natural gas and reserves. U.S. is the second largest exporter of natural gas behind Russia. It's the only empire that can mostly be energy independent.
Wow.
So, they don't need these other nations. The only reason why they have the oil issues is because they protect the other countries that need the oil from Russia, so forth and so on.
and Russia has sanctioned off over half a year.
Mm-hmm.
They're not sending any gas over there. I think they only allow 4 different countries, but most of Europe, Russia done cut them off.
Yeah, cut them off. And that's why America's got a supply, and they break it down, and they going over there telling Ishmael, we need you to pump some more. Ishmael's like, man, we ain't pumping no more.
And winter's coming up too.
Right.
You know they're gonna need gas.
They're gonna be in trouble. So the reserves of America getting dwindled down because they too busy trying to ship it out to help all of the nations that have been drinking of the wine of the wrath, and now they can't supply and demand is becoming a problem, right? So it says estimated average of 20 billion barrels of oil and 1.6 billion barrels of natural gas liquids are available for the taking in the Wolfcamp Shale, which is in the Midland Basin portion of Texas, the Permian Basin. Based on West Texas intermediate crude oil price of $45 per barrel, these deposits are worth about $900 billion. So you got, what they say, almost $3 trillion in agriculture, $900 billion in oil. That's just at one oil deposit. They got a couple of them. I mean, this place is set.
What part of Texas they say?
It said West Texas.
Western.
But that's where we see, man. So we want to know where the fatness of the earth is, where Esau's gotten, why is he so bold that he wants to maintain and control his place. This is it. This is it. It's dark in here, man. The lights don't went out. So yeah, all praise to the Most High, man. Hopefully everybody got some understanding. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and log off, man. Shalom to the family online, man. The water for the support, man. We're gonna go ahead and close out. Y'all be well, take care, and shalom.